A man collapses. No warning, no sound. One instant he's standing, the next he's gone. Silence. But inside, a storm is raging. His heart, once steady, rhythmic, powerful, has stopped dead. Blood freezes in the arteries. Oxygen halts in its tracks. In this moment, time becomes a razor edge. The brain, hungry and relentless, demands oxygen with every passing second. But now, the flow has stopped. Neurons begin to suffocate. In only 10 seconds, panic ripples through the cortex. In just 4 minutes, cells start to die. The body is teetering on the brink. Sudden cardiac arrest is a thief in the night. It steals life with no warning, no mercy. Deep inside the chest, the heart's electrical system misfires. Its impulses, normally so precise, dissolve into chaos. Instead of pumping, the muscle flutters, useless and wild. Blood, once surging through vessels, now barely stirs. Oxygen starves the brain. The organs rebel. Outwardly, the man is motionless. But inside, millions of cells are screaming. Neurons fire in confusion. The brain's delicate circuits short out. All the wisdom, memory, and emotion that make up a life now teeter on the edge of oblivion. Time is the enemy now. Someone nearby sees the collapse. A moment of shock, then action. They call out, shake the man's shoulder. No response, no breath, no pulse. The air thickens with urgency. 911 is dialed, but sirens are still distant. This is the moment where everything hangs in the balance. The brain can only survive a few precious minutes without oxygen. Every heartbeat that doesn't come is a wave of damage. But the real rescue doesn't wait for professionals. It begins here, now, with 2 hands, a deep breath, and courage. Kneeling beside the victim, the rescuer places their hands on the center of the chest. They press down, hard and fast. The first compression is a shockwave. The sternum sinks. The heart, trapped between bone and spine, is squeezed like a sponge. Blood, once trapped, is forced out, rushing into arteries, surging toward the brain. The heart isn't beating, but it's being forced to perform. Each compression buys a few more seconds of hope. Each push is a message. Not yet, not today. With every push, the body is coaxed back to life. Blood is driven forward from the ventricles, past the valves, into the great arteries. Like a mechanical pump, the rescuer's hands become the heart's surrogate. Valves snap shut, preventing backflow. The arteries flex. Blood is rerouted to the organs that matter most. The brain, the heart itself. This is not perfect circulation, but it's enough to hold death at bay. Oxygen, carried by red blood cells, makes a desperate dash to neurons on the edge of survival. The body isn't thriving, it's surviving, but the lungs are still. Without breaths, oxygen levels in the blood drop fast. The rescuer pinches the nose, tilts the head, and delivers a breath. Air rushes into the lungs, swelling the alveoli, tiny sacs where oxygen leaps into the bloodstream. Carbon dioxide, a waste of burning energy, is carried out. As the chest rises and falls, oxygen finds its way into the blood. The next compression sends this life-giving molecule toward the starving brain. Compressions alone can keep blood flowing, but without some oxygen, the body's clock keeps ticking down. Inside the brain, neurons teeter on the edge. They are exquisitely sensitive, unable to store oxygen. 2 minutes without circulation, and signals begin to falter. Synapses, the spaces where thoughts leap, start to fail. But the partial flow restored by CPR slows the damage. Glucose and oxygen reach the cortex. The brainstem, guardian of breathing and heartbeat, is preserved. Consciousness is still out of reach, but brain death is pushed back, second by precious second. Deeper in the chest, the heart's own muscle fibers begin to stir. Cardiomyocytes, specialized cells, absorb the trickle of oxygen. Sodium and potassium pumps, vital for electrical balance, sputter back to life. The heart's machinery is being primed, cell by cell. If a defibrillator arrives, these cells must be ready to respond. CPR isn't just keeping the blood moving, it's preparing the heart for the shock of resurrection. Then, defibrillator pads are placed. The device charges. Time seems to freeze. The shock is delivered. Electricity floods the heart, sweeping through the muscle in a tidal wave. Cells depolarize, resetting their rhythm. If the stars align, the sinoatrial node, the heart's natural pacemaker, fires. A beat, then another. The chaos of fibrillation is silenced. The heart contracts. Blood flows naturally again. The body exhales, a collective sigh of relief. Return of spontaneous circulation. A pulse flickers at the wrist. Blood pressure rises. Oxygen saturation climbs. The brain begins to wake, slowly, cautiously. Pupils shrink in response to light. Reflexes return. On the outside, the victim may still seem lost, but inside, systems are rebooting. The chain of survival has done its work. In the shadowy corridors of the brain, neurons begin to fire in sequence. The cerebral cortex, seat of memory and thought, stirs. The brainstem manages the basics, breathing, heartbeat. As oxygen floods back, cells repair themselves. Memories remain, dormant but intact. Gradually, consciousness returns. The person emerges, second by second, from the abyss. Elsewhere, organs long deprived of oxygen come back online. The kidneys flush out toxins that built up during the crisis. The liver filters blood, clearing acids and waste. Electrolytes are balanced. The delicate machinery of life restarts. Homeostasis is no longer artificial, it's real. But the trauma isn't over. The immune system senses injury. Inflammation rises. White blood cells swarm to repair micro-tears in muscle and vessel linings. The body's chemistry shifts, bracing for recovery. Healing begins, not just at the surface, but deep within the fabric of every organ. As hours pass, the patient is watched. Brain activity is measured. Breathing is supported. The heart is stabilized. But this is no longer borrowed time. It's the start of true recovery. If consciousness returns, rehabilitation begins. Muscles relearn strength. Speech regains clarity. The mind, battered but unbroken, finds its footing. Survival was the victory. Now comes the journey back to wholeness. The emotional aftermath is powerful. Survivors often speak of gratitude, fear, hope. Some feel reborn, others shaken. Families ride the same waves, helplessness giving way to relief. The person who performs CPR is a quiet hero. In their hands, life was sustained. Their decision to act, to fight, to hope made the difference. CPR is not complicated. It's not glamorous, but it is powerful. Every year, it saves hundreds of thousands of lives. It bridges the gap between death and recovery. Deep inside, it's a ballet of pressure, oxygen, and willpower, raw, relentless, and miraculous. In that moment, you could be the difference, the lifeline, the hands that buy time, the courage that changes fate. No CPR. Share this knowledge, because you never know when you will be called to restart the miracle of life. And when you are, you will be ready.